G'day everyone, it's SDS SuperCoach providing SuperCoach content for you. I'm here to present reviewing my Housemates team part 2. And who have I got today? What's your name?
Spud.
I got him in a video last year, so he's now reviewing his team. We're 2 days out from the SuperCoach season. Are you pumped?
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped. Yeah, it's a bit harder this year. I mean, there's not a whole lot of juicy options up forward in the premium department.
No, there isn't. So, yeah, the floor's yours, mate. I'll just be around in the background reviewing, mate.
All right, so I think my team is going to start off with a selection that apparently 68% of people have made. I think there's a fairly obvious one, Nick Dacos. I think he's just going to continue on his merry way. And yeah, I think should be no surprise there. Next, I will go down to Tom Stewart, not Sicily, because Sicily will have to be a bit more accountable at Hawthorn, and sometimes he's not as consistent as Stewart either, even though he does have a similar ceiling. So yeah, just with the Carnage to Hawks backline, I think that just makes it easier to not pick Sicily.
Absolutely.
Hayden Young is the next cab off the rank. I think he's had a breakout year last year. The last couple of years, people could say he's been getting ready to break out, and I think he'll just continue even further. So 525, I can see him pushing that up to maybe 580, just under 600, and probably finish as a top 6 defender.
Agree.
This next one is a bit of an interesting one. I think a few people are getting on him now, but I was one of well, I got him when he didn't have much ownership at all, and that is Nazai Wanganeen Malira for the St Kilda Football Club. And yes, I do support St Kilda, but I don't think this is a biased selection.
You didn't even have to say that, Spud. You could have just gone through the team and they would know, mate.
That's all right. That's all right. Yeah, you'll find out later. That's all right. So 475k, and I think he can finish inside the top 6, and if not, he could at least push into the mid 500,000 because he averaged 94.5. Second half of last year, dropped below 20 positions once or twice in the second half of the year, and he's just been a beacon of consistency for St Kilda. So I think he's only going to get better. He's only like 21 years old, so yeah, I reckon he's a nice pod, and I think he'll serve me well.
Does Riley Bonner concern you with his scoring or not?
Oh, as in effect.
Could it affect Nazai Wanganeen Miller's scoring, Riley Bonner?
I don't think that much because Nazai Wanganeen Malira will still have one halfback flank, and if Bonner has the other, even if you throw Sinclair into the midst, that'll come into the conversation later because I am picking Bonner in my team. So
that's all right.
In the back line, we're going to go with Zach Williams.
Yes.
Look, we know he's prone to an injury or two, but I think the fact that he played and got through the game unscathed on Thursday or whenever that game was, sorry, I think it was Friday. But yeah, he just got through the game in 73. I think he'll be averaging in the mid 80s probably.
That'd be a great result.
Yeah, not back to his premium days, but he's certainly a pretty solid pickup. And then I think Josh Gibcus at this price is just at this price is just pretty much impossible to go past, and 50% ownership, which is ridiculously high. Not saying it shouldn't be, but 50% shows you how much of a bit of a no-brainer that is as a pick. And then on the bench, I was actually playing around with it for most of the preseason. I went with Caulfield and Zach Reed. I've now put in Howes from Melbourne.
You finally listened to me.
Drafted a couple. Drafted. He was drafted a couple of years ago, and he's had his debut on the weekend, and he looked a bit shaky at the start, but by the second half, it looked like he'd played 50 games already, and I think Bowie's injured at the moment as well, so I think he'll have decent job security. And even if he doesn't, I mean, there's enough defense options that we'll be able to. We've got 40 trades this year, so you're allowed to take bigger risks. So I think that is in there. And then Nick Caulfield, not changing that one. I think even
officially named today for round 1.
Sure did, and I think his job security will be pretty decent actually. At the Bulldogs, I mean, he might only average in the high 60s, low 70s, or even slightly low, but that's fine. I mean, I'm not hoping to have his score count. I just want him to, get up above 300,000, which I think he sure will if he plays a lot of football early in the season. Let's go to the
I
midfield.
like the back line. I'll just step in for a sec. I really like the back line. I think the structure is pretty good to what we want to do for this year. I like the rookies, and I like the shout at Wanganeen Miller. I reckon he could be a sneaky chance for top 8, top 6, you name it. All right, you prepared for your midfield?
Yes, I didn't have this bloke the whole preseason, and that's Marcus Bontempelli. He's
Good
just got a
man.
massive, massive ceiling. As you can see, he averaged 129.7 last year, but he has been one of the SuperCoach midfield beasts for the last 6 or 7 years, and really, the only reason I wasn't going to start him the whole time was because I thought he might drop in price a tiny bit, but with niggles in the preseason to Rosie and Gordon, I don't want to be and have knee-jerk reactions, but Gordon was quite average on the weekend, and I think actually now that Bont is someone that I can just rely on and don't have to worry about.
Yep.
And even if he gets injured or does poorly, 42% of people are going to have the same score. So
Exactly.
Christian Petrarca, who's one of my first pick players, really, when SuperCoach opens or when the team picker open, because I do have SuperCoach Gold. I think he's a no-brainer. Obviously, a midfielder who kicks goals. Don't have to say much more. I think anyone who watches the football or plays SuperCoach a lot, I think, doesn't really need to hear much more about Petrarca. And now I've gone for these are the two bona fide premiums as such, but now I'm getting into that funny area where it's kind of two players who have scored at a premium level before, but are not priced as such, and that is due to injuries. And yeah, so they're just priced a bit cheaper. And these are two players I think will finish around. They might not finish top 8, but they'll finish around the top 12 midfielders, and or at least gain enough money, enough cash. And these are Took Miller from the Gold Coast Suns.
Took. Yep.
Yep, owned by 22% there. I'm actually surprised it's not more, because I think he's an absolute bargain. 545, that's priced to average around 100, and honestly, I reckon he'll be averaging 115. So
Big call.
expect him to get well above 600,000
Okay.
this year, maybe 640, and potentially even higher. And Jack Steele is in a very similar position. He was obviously last year he averaged 94.8 there, as you can see, but there's no secret that he was actually, playing on an injury cloud for most of the season. And he has put some of the weight back on that he lost, and was looking a lot fresher. And I think he can get back into the scoring 115s, 120. So it's a pretty safe selection in my opinion.
Okay.
And this is where we get a bit different. This player was mentioned earlier in the video, and that is Riley Bonner, owned 7%, who was delisted from Port Adelaide, and only before he was picked up, he was only really considered about a week before that. Saints flew him out and thought he was going to be a depth player. Even that's what I thought, but he just in the two pracky matches. I mean, one was unofficial, but he was one of the best players in that game and was arguably best on in the second one against North, or at least best on for St Kilda. And I think even if Sinclair comes back in, that just allows Sinclair to play in the midfield, because Sinclair occupied the halfback flank, because that's where we need the premium ball use, and we hadn't had the ball users. Sorry, St Kilda hasn't had those ball users, but now Bonner is one of those. So I think he will definitely be playing even if Sinclair's in the team.
How would you rate Riley Bonner's job security, do you reckon?
I reckon it's pretty high at the moment.
Pretty high?
I
Take a
think
fair bit for him to get out of the team?
I reckon we'd have to have almost no injuries. And even if he is, I think he'd still be, at least starting on the bench at worst.
Okay.
I mean, St Kilda has been crying out for someone to be able to use the ball well, and that's according to what's happening in the preseason, and he's someone who can do that. So. St Kilda in the past have had a lot of players who are fast or strong or good inside the contest, but they've never been anyone. They've rarely been able to hit a target. So
that's all right.
That's Bonner, someone who can hit a target. The next couple of players are all kind of straightforward. McKercher, who'll probably be runner up in the Rising Star.
Mm.
Owen McKercher, just
Yeah,
that silky left foot, just gonna absolutely slot in,
he'll be a great rook.
and we'll get a first proper crack to seeing him this weekend for his first actual game. He's debuting, and Sanders is another one who probably will win the Rising Star. Looks like a Jason Horn-Francis type. I mean, when he came in, he just looked settled, didn't he, Smudge? He just looked like
Yep.
he'd played 100 games already.
Yep.
Which
He's going to be a beauty.
which is impressive considering Bulldogs already have a good midfield. So no, that's really good. Also, Darcy Wilson is another Sainer, but I think it's a no-brainer selection. He's debuting this week, and he looks like a ready-made player. I think he came third in the time trial, or he's one of St Kilda's best endurance runners, and he's pretty quick as well. Can kick on both sides of the body, which helps as well. So I reckon he'll be in the team for at least the first couple of months of the season, barring injury.
Mm-hmm.
We go to the bench. Lazaro cost a bit more than some of the other rookies, but he's hunt and want to get the footy in the pracky games. That was sensational. And I know it's just a practice game, but you don't look into the team results too much, but the individual players you can. And Lazaro he was just everywhere. And uh, even if he only averages 60 or 70, I'll take that on the bench personally. He does cost a bit more, but I think, yeah, I'm pretty happy with that selection.
And the mid forward status helps a lot, and that's what people have been convinced with the Lazaro pick as well.
No, absolutely does. Matt Roberts. So he was he was just acknowledged for the he was nominated for the first round for round zero, or opening round, or whatever you want to call it. He was named the Rising Star nomination, as he was quite handy. I thought Howes was a bit stiff, but that's all right. Matty Roberts. I don't know about his job security, but I mean,
I think
that's all right.
I think it's pretty good. Played really well. They've pushed Lloyd to a wing, and that's made Roberts come back to halfback, so that makes him very interesting. So yeah, I think his job security is pretty good, but a lot can change, I guess.
No, fair. No, that's good. So if you can, yeah, exact, and having to throw on the bench, uh, even if there's one who doesn't play every week, if you can just play a handful and get a couple of price rises, I'm happy with that even personally. And then Jeremy Sharp, who has quite the ability to score. He's had a couple of games at Gold Coast in the past where, he'd get above 30 touches and get above 100 on SuperCoach. I mean, I'm not expecting that personally, obviously. But when he plays, I reckon he can get above 300,000, and he's a known quantity. So he's not like a new player. He might not have scored as high as some of these high draft picks, but we know when he plays, he's going to get a score.
Yep, mature age body, got a few pre-seasons in the belt. That certainly helps a fair bit with him. With this midfield, I quite like it a fair bit. I think you've certainly gotten the right blokes in with the rookies. You got a couple of value picks there, so that's really nice. And then you've got the two top dogs that you can vice captain and captain and whatever not. So I think you've done well there. Oh, sorry. That's a big dinner.
Thanks, Mudge. So I'll go into the rucks now. Now, one of these is someone that almost everyone's going to have, and that is Grundy. He's just too cheap to pass up.
Yep.
Just 51%. And it's like, yeah, didn't average much last year, 86, but yeah, that's because he was playing at Melbourne. It was with Gawn, and yeah, he just obviously stifled his opportunity to score. I mean, that combination between the two rucks at Melbourne didn't really work, because I didn't think it would. And yeah, I think Grundy's just
what's really helped actually is the two Gawn and Grundy joined forces together, made them cheaper. Now that they're at the same club, and now they're options for this year. But it seems like you've gone a different direction from Gawn.
Yeah, yes, I have, and you can probably guess the team that has the most selections there already. I'm going to go with Ryan Marshall, and this might seem like a funny one, but he is 639,000 for a reason. And that reason is because he averaged 114.3 last year. Is quite consistent. Obviously, there's some games where he might get a 70 or an 80, but he's plenty of games where he's, balanced it out with 130 or 140. And one area of his game that needs work is his tap work, which I think has come on a bit, but even sometimes where he gets monstered in the ruck by a better tap ruckman, he might still get, his 9 or 10 marks around the ground, kick a goal, and get his points. So I think Rowan Marshall is a good selection. I was very close to picking Briggs actually. I don't know, with Gawn, I think Gawn's a bit past. I think he drops marks that he used to take, and I don't know. Yes, he did come up against Grundy, and that could be why he got a low score on the weekend. But he actually still got above 30 hit out. So I think it's around the ground where he's not as strong as what he used to be, and that's where Marshall excels. So I'm going to go with Naismith. This is the bloke I had most of the preseason, so I'm not jumping on the bandwagon. Not just because he's debuting, but sorry, debuted last week. Not because of that, but
Me and Spud a couple of hours ago were actually having a bit of a discussion about now that Nankervis has been named, does Naismith keeps the spot? He reckons he stays in the team. I don't reckon he does, even though I think he played very well. It's just more dependent on the versatility, but we'll find that out tomorrow. We'll see who gets bragging rights with that convo, mate.
yeah, we will. And I just reckon that Naismith is personally a better tap ruckman, whereas Nankervis is better around the ground. So I think
Yeah.
they'll
Yeah,
go
that could
both.
work, yeah.
All right.
Who we got in this dreaded forward line, boss?
We're starting with Flanders.
Yep, nice.
Obviously posted a fair few decent scores last year, but has been known to go missing in games. But I think he's certainly seen improvement. Obviously, it's not improvement week to week, but on the whole, I think he's got a pretty good upward trajectory at the moment, and I can see him finishing maybe fourth or fifth in their BNF personally, which is also the midfield around him is pretty good, which is going to help because Raoul's been fit now. He's had a lot of injuries, and that should help. We might take a tagger. But yeah, so Flanders, because he's not their number one or two midfielder, he's probably their fourth or fifth. I think that he will feed off not being tagged and won't get as much attention. So
No,
and he can
good
kick a
point.
goal as well. So
Good point.
this next one is a bloke that I liked as a player a couple of years ago, but then he's just turned into a butcher, and that's Zach Fisher. But he is very awkwardly priced 378. But I just think that at North, that new role, and we've known so many times players that are not rubbish, but players that are okay or good can become decent or great. I'm not saying it'll be great, but I think he can go up a new level in the new environment with a new role off the halfback flank.
Nice.
Suit him better than, playing on that high half forward wing kind of awkward role at Carlton where he wasn't getting, big scores because he wasn't getting many goal assists because even if he did hit Charlie Curnow or Mackay on the chest, they weren't going to kick it anyway. But yeah, I just feel like, in the new environment, he's going to do very well there.
Nice.
And Fife, I thought this was a trap in the past, but this time is even cheaper than he often is off after an injury. And I just think he was going to play maybe not full-time mid, but he's certainly going to be in the midfield a bit. And if this doesn't work, there's another rookie we can go to. There's a lot of cheaper options in the forward line this year compared to other years, and could even put Lazaro there and then, get a new mid rookie. If Josh Sin, if he plays, because there's people who've been stiff to miss out in the midfield for rookies and then even up for it. But with the dual position, that just means if Fife does poorly a couple of weeks in a row, I can just swing him out, no dramas.
Great stuff.
James Jordan, and I'm not selecting him because his last name's Jordan, even though it's spelled differently to my name. But I just think that with Sydney's injuries, well documented injuries, obviously Mills is out long term. Adams is not there at the moment. I know he didn't play last year, but it's still a midfield player that's not there. Also, there's another one. I'm trying to think. I was on the tip of my tongue who's not playing. But yeah, Jordan, as we saw, being prioritised. He's going to be playing, even if he does have to play on the wing a bit. He's Gonna be playing as an on-baller, I think.
And
And
he's a good accumulator of the ball, so no matter where he plays, he still manages a way to find the ball as well. So I think that's a really good trait in the super coach pick as well.
no, he's and again dual position.
Yep.
But also part of the reason, not just myself, but a lot of people have gone for a lot of mid prices here is because there aren't many forward premium options that stand out.
There's bugger all.
And hopefully by the time these mid prices have gained enough in value that we can downgrade some and then upgrade some to the people who have become premiums.
And also as well, the forward line is the cheapest line to upgrade. So that, and which also means the easiest. So we don't need to save up a bunch of cash to be upgrading our forward line, because I think keepers are really going to be around that 90 plus scoring range. So we can just with this forward line setup, we can just wait out and see if the options and who's top six at the end of the day.
No, absolutely. Number one pick, Harley Reid. No, no explanation needed. Again, he's a dual position player, and some people were worried about his, that first unofficial pracky game, but I wouldn't read too much into that. No, if you'll pardon the pun there.
That was a little blip on the radar.
Yeah, I think the next game we saw what he was capable of.
Yep.
Alex Sexton, it's a bit of a funny one. It was a goal sneak, an important goal sneak for them years ago, and then kind of he's been on the fringe for a couple of years now, but now he's has got a bit of a new role. So I think that should suit him. I don't think he'll be scoring massively, but I mean if he can tick along at 65, 70 plus, I think we'll take that.
Oh, I didn't personally have Alex Sexton on my SuperCoach bingo card, so uh, there we go. Who are your final two forward rookies?
Well, one of these costs a fair bit, and that's Dersma. I had him in my team before Lazaro. He was originally on the field until I saw Lazaro play in the preseason and how he was training and all that. But Dersma, I mean, he's not going to get as much of the pill as Lazaro, but I think his disposals will be more effective. He's so maybe not his disposal efficiency, but I mean more damaging. Like he might turn some over, but he'll have some goal assists, and he's quite clean with the ball. So I think I'm not too fussed if he doesn't average that much. He's on the bench again, dual position player, and he was a high draft pick for a reason. And my very last but not least, is a mature age player, and that is Sean Manor. I believe it was best on ground in the VFL final. If I could be
He
mistaken
was in the
there.
losing grand final as well.
Yeah, which is actually even more impressive.
Yep.
Again, dual position, basement price, and it's possible he might not play this week, but I mean he'll certainly get a good look in at some point of the year, and that's cheap price. He'll play some games, and usually mature age players, they usually don't have the same kind of nerves as 18-year-olds do. They've got a ready-made football body. They've already played against adults, so yeah, when he does come into the team, I'm sure he'll make the selection worthy, and that is the rest of my team. And
Who are you thinking for vice captain and cap? Oh yeah, just save your team.
Yep, I think it's done it there for me. I think Bonampelli, but I actually think
Are you going to vice captain someone from a different game, or going to go with track? Oh yeah, Dacos. Yep, nice.
yeah, it's depending week to week. This is not my captain for this week specifically, but just week to week it depends. I could do Bont. I mean, his bad game is definitely worse than Dacos's bad game, but if he gets a massive one, I could loophole him. And then if he doesn't, then I can just back Dacos to get his 125 and be happy with that because it's good safety net there.
Yep, very much so. All right, well done, Jordan. All right, let me have a squizzy on this. All right, so with your St Kilda players, I do rate all of them because I can see positives in them. I do worry about when they have their bye though. Cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah, they might not all be in my team by then. So
yeah, true. How many premiums you got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and you've Yep, nice.
Usually roll with the 13, but I think that's possible
Nah,
this year.
nah. All right, nice. Who are you gonna what if Manor doesn't get named? Who are you
Oh
thinking?
well, there's a few
Or are you gonna
options.
leave him there and maybe be a
I
loophole?
might leave him there because he will come in at some point.
Yep.
Could be a downgrade target later on, or could even swing Lazaro forward and then put maybe Josh Sin if he comes in. I don't know.
Yeah, just
There's
yeah.
even in the forward line. There's also a few key position players who are traditionally not very good at Supercoach, but at least will play, and that could it's Darcy or Cadman
Yep, very
who are
much
very
so.
cheap.
Yep, you've got the main dogs in here. All right. Nice. Nice. All right. I'm pretty happy with that. Are you locked in or do you need to see teams on Thursday?
Well, if there's teams and obviously some of them are not named, then that was a bit
Yeah,
might change. But at the moment, I'm
there might be a
pretty
Will Phillips situation. I remember everyone last year picked Will Phillips and then we had to readjust. So
yeah.
yeah, look, there you go. Wait, I wonder if this works now. Bastard. All right. I'll get that to work one day in my videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Spud, for jumping
No
on.
worries.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one, guys. Bye.